What if I told you that I am a Yakuza veteran? I'm talking 0 all the way to 8, almost all the spin-offs. I'm only missing 2, and those are stuck on PS3. And I don't feel like playing them. They're old. Plus, they don't do anything for the story. But I needed my fix. I just beat Infinite Wealth in December. I need my fix. And, after a year, or for me, 2 months, we got that new entry in the series. Introducing Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Released for $60. It is definitely a Yakuza game, especially with Goro Majima starting as the protagonist for the second time in his own game. Now, this game is more on the goofier side, but it's story driven, so it's cool with me. Now let's get into what this is all about. Goro Majima, the Ken to the Yakuza series, is yet again on another adventure. This time to Hawaii. We're talking about the story here. Let's be for real. This game is a side story, and right now, since technically this is the most recent game, the story is kind of ambiguous and short, I'm gonna keep the story brief. The game stars Goro Majima. He awakens on a beach. He has no memory of what's occurred prior to him getting on that beach. He gets found by Noah, this little kid, and after a short conversation in Yakuza, that means throwing hands with anyone and everyone. He sets out to make a promise to Noah to show life outside the, little island that they live on to find treasure. But of course, like a Yakuza game, Majima finds himself in more than that meets the eye, whether it's, the island, whether it's the cult, and of course the deal with this treasure and the pirate island and all this other stuff. But the main source of this game is the lost treasure of the Esperanza. With somewhat predictable twists and turns, the story is one of honor and redemption while having a wacky backdrop about pirates. Personally, I don't feel like the story was the strong suit of this game, and since the game is only 5 chapters long, it's not the most expansive, super interesting, detailed story, especially if you played Infinite Wealth, because you actually know why he is there, and it's assumed that he ended up doing what he needs to do anyway. The ending is pretty ambiguous. This long dump about how you need to keep going and make sure you leave something behind for the old generation, which ties into the story. It did say it needs to be continued, but I'd be really interested to see how they can do much more with this Yakuza story. I would say it's serviceable, not a strong suit of the game though. The gameplay is old school Yakuza. It's a beat 'em up game with some verticality, as in this game, say it with me, Goro Majima can jump on his own.
Wow.
In all seriousness, no, the gameplay is very basic. There's only 2 fighting styles, Mad Dog style, which is returning from Zero, and that's kind of his well-known fighting style. And then also, there's a new style called Cutlass, which is for bigger groups. Mad Dog style is more for like bosses and small groups, while like I said, Cutlass is for the bigger groups. Each style has a madness gauge, which is used to unlock a special ability. For Mad Dog, it's clones of himself, and for the Cutlass pirate style, it's 4 supers. You could call it that, and these are only unlocked through the side story. Now, that isn't necessary to beat, but I would do it if you want to get the most out of the Cutlass style. I'd argue the Cutlass style is pretty OP once you like max it out and get all the upgrade stuff here. The upgrade system is points and money, which is easily attained by completing challenges, finding treasure, doing side quests and side content, and within the main story. I was pretty OP by chapter 2 or 3 as I was doing a lot of side content, and I also noticed that the points were added really to slow down the character from upgrading too fast, because you do come across money in this game rather quickly, and if you could just go from 0 to 500,000 and upgrade all your things, the game would be too easy. When you're not fighting randos on the street, you're also fighting randos on the ship. The ship battles are fun. But like the random dudes on the street, it does get repetitive. And if you're used to playing Yakuza, then it's not all that bad. You see them coming, you can try to avoid them. New to Yakuza is the pirate rank, so that's essentially your reputation as a pirate. It gets raised by either doing battles, doing challenges, being with friends, and the Aloha Link, which is returning from infinite wealth. And to explain the ship combat is pretty simple. So you have a ship crew, which handles your machine gun and the cannons. And then, of course, in boss fights, you do deck battles. So when you have your own squad, the people that you recruit throughout the game can help you jump the deck. And it's pretty fun. It's kind of similar to how it worked in Gaiden. If you remember in Gaiden, there was like a mini game where you could recruit people. They could fight for you. They could also fight as a group with you. And they all had special abilities that you used. Ultimately, of course, in this one, you can't fight as any of the people you recruited, only as Majima, but I think that's only because, like I said, this game is a side game, so no one's really taking it all that serious. Plus, Majima's pretty OP in the game, so you wouldn't even mind that. I think it's fun to board the ship. It does kind of give a sense of, like, crew building, because each crew member has levels, and there's, like, synergy and all this other stuff, but it's pretty easy. I played it on standard, so it's not like it's overly hard. I can probably count with like my two hands how many times I've died in this game. And the recruitment part is easy, like I said. It's really just either fetch quest, throwing hands per usual, and also some quests do reward you with new crew members. Like I said, I would say it's not that hard of a game, and honestly, I would maybe recommend you turn the difficulty up if you do play it on your own. Let's get into the side content. Let's be honest. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza has a lot of content to get into when you're not running down on ops or trying to show Noah there's more to the world than his little cabin there. But most of it isn't new. Like, it's either pre Like a Dragon stuff or post Like a Dragon stuff. There isn't too much since there's like a side game, but it's canon to the story because the game introduces it to you. And some of them are needed for the platinum if you are a platinum hunter. Like I said, side content isn't mandatory, but why wouldn't you do it if you want to be OP and you want to get more people on your team? But I'll just name out a few, you know, Dragon Cart, Vocational School, Pet Kingdom, At Bat with a Cannon, the Crazy Picks on the Trolley, Crazy Cart, which is this pretty much the same thing as Dragon Cart, but I forgot. Bounties, crew recruitment, treasure hunting, ship battles. You can even cook if you want to be on your, cooking mama stuff. Arcade games, darts, golf, sub-stories, and the Pirate Coliseum. I mean, in the Pirate Coliseum, you kind of have to do that for the story, but it's fun, run down on some people, and that's the only way you can beat there's a guy. The guy that you beat at all the side quests in the game, there's that guy, you beat him if you do the Pirate Coliseum. I don't know if you need to do all the quests because it doesn't seem like it matters, but, it's there. I had some fun with it. I did most of the side content just so I can get some treasures and some money in the game. I would recommend it. If you don't want to do it, the game's going to be a lot shorter, let's be honest. The Platinum Trophy. This game has 62 trophies, including the Platinum, and it only requires one playthrough. Most of them are pretty easy. You'll probably do them while you play. There's only a handful of them that you gotta really grind for. There's, like I said, there's the Dragon Cart, there's Crazy Delivery, there's the cooking mini game, and the Pirate Coliseum. Those are the ones you gotta actually pay attention to, but they're pretty easy, like I said. And then there's other things like just buying, items, upgrading your character. By the time I got to the last chapter, I only really had to grind 2 or 3 of them. And let's be honest, they weren't too hard. It was just the Cutlass Madness Gauge, which is pretty easy. Just do it 30 times. Or having 56 clones when you do the Madness Gauge with the Mad Dog style, which is pretty easy. Just keep popping it till you get it. It's pretty easy to do that in the Coliseum. There's a list of challenges in there. And one of the challenges, if you do the full side quest for the, 4 captains, there's a battle in there where you can just do that over and over and over again. And you can get your thing every time. It's too easy. I beat the game in just about under 30 hours. It wasn't too hard. You only need one playthrough, like I said. So if you pick it up, you want to get a platinum that's pretty fun, I would get it. It's up to you, of course, but I did enjoy my platinum, let's be honest. I'm going to just do a quick overview of at the end of this review, kind of saying what I like, what I don't like. I think the gameplay is fluid. It's definitely always more enjoyable to play the beat 'em up style than the JRPG style. Not to say that the JRPG style isn't fun, but if you played Yakuza, you've played every single game like a beat 'em up. So obviously, it's always fun. I think the story's pretty straightforward. It's not too convoluted. I mean, there's like one plot twisting in there, and you're like, well, whatever, cool. There's enough side content in there to have fun. I think the upgrading doesn't take too long just due to the game length. It's only 5 chapters, so it doesn't take too long. And also, I think the ship battles and the deck battles are really a great addition. They're not really new, but they are fun. What I didn't like, though, is the game is a bit too short. 5 chapters, and if you don't do any side content, you're probably going to fly through that. You can easily beat this game in probably 10, 15 hours, if I'm being honest. It does feel kind of repurposed. I mean, that's how these games usually feel, but it doesn't seem like they're not really adding much outside of the ships. The game isn't that hard, and I feel like it kind of ruins the story pacing. By the end of the game, I was slaughtering enemies. No, like I said, that's because I was max level, so of course that's supposed to happen. And I'm interested to see how this game really ties to the story, because it isn't like, I don't know, it just doesn't, it feels like it's there, but it's like, what does this mean? The ending didn't feel like it was crazy, so we'll see. Overall, those are my thoughts on what I liked and didn't like. Overall verdict, I think the game is fun. If you're a Yakuza fan, you'll probably like this game. If you're not a Yakuza fan, you probably still should play this game. I don't know if I paid $60 for it. I don't think this game should have been $60. Gaiden was $50. Of course, Gaiden didn't get a US physical release, but even then, it has just about the same amount of content. Like I said, I mean, I don't know. It's a fun beat 'em up to pass the time if that's what you're looking for. If you cop it at full price, I'd do all the side content, get a platinum, get your money's worth. But I think this is a definite pickup at like 40 and under. Like I said, I feel like the game is pretty good, but I think it's pretty forgettable. Majima had a full game in Yakuza 0, and now he has like a side game. So, my expectations aren't that high. I think people really like this game because it's going back to the beat 'em up style, but this game will be like a bridge from this game to the next Yakuza game whenever that comes out. But that's my review. Check me out. I know it took too long to make this review, but it's my first one. I'm going to get better. I'm going to work on it. But if you want to get the game, Amazon link is in the description. But it's wise. And thank you for watching my video. Peace.